Hello, this is Analytical Chick. I am gonna go through an article that is old. It's from last year, 2016, early 2016. And before I do that, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And all of that. So, shoving the Alinsky rules for radicals right back in the left's ugly face. I don't know about you, but I like this. So, the article is from February of. Oh, I said 2016. I meant 2017. Whoopsies. So, the left is getting massively out Alinsky'd. And the hilarious thing is this band of withered hippies, unemployable, millennial safe space cases, and unlovable and unshaven lib feminists don't even know it. Oh, their masters sure know it. Soros is bitterly having to ramp up his infusions of blood money to keep his community organized grassroots in quotations afloat. Just a little note about this. At some point, I think it was this past summer, summer of 2017, Soros, it made the news because Soros put like 8 billion, something like that, from his accounts that were offshore. He brought it back to the States and infused it into these organizations, these NGO BS organizations, these quote unquote grassroots organizations. Grassroots, my foot. Alright, the less dumb ones among the lying dinosaur media are panicking as their influence faded. And Chucky Schumer is enduring such a non-stop parade of serial humiliations that if the Senate were a penitentiary, he'd be McConnell's prison Mitch. The leftist mafia, God mal-identifying parents pulling the strings of the Marxist puppet know the score. They are losing, and it's awesome because finally the right has taken Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals and shoved it up where the resistance don't shine. Thank you, Andrew Breitbart. You yelled, "Follow me," and led a movement that had previously been dominated by doofy wonks and bow-tied geeks over the top in a glorious bayonet charge against the paper tiger liberal elite. The left hadn't taken a good, solid gut punch since Ronald Reagan turned the Oval Office keys over to wimp cons Bushes! Oh, excuse me. Who found fighting Democrats uncouth because conflict made for awkward luncheons down at the club. Bizarrely, the guy who picked up the standard and carried it forward when our beloved commander was felled by fate was a New York billionaire with no identifiable ideological foundation who instinctively understood that one thing that could make up for his other failings: he knows how to fight liberals and win. For Donald Trump, the revitalized conservative movement, Alinsky's book isn't some dusty old commie tome. It's a lifestyle. Amen to that. Alinsky rules are relatively simple, and they make sense when you are fighting a conventional opponent with an interest in maintaining the status quo. The rules are terrific for dealing with an old school conservative guy who drives a Buick, enjoys gardening, and doesn't want any trouble. Oh yeah. But they aren't so effective against conservative brawlers who like to punch and who aren't so fussy about whether it's with tweets or with fists. And it's not just Donald Trump. I mean, I'm going to stop for a second and say, like, if you look at how all of us are on YouTube, I mean, I may have this tiny little channel, but here we are punching the left by getting out information, by explaining things to people, by uncovering what they're up to. Here I am telling you guys all about the Alinsky tactics. Everyone should learn about the Alinsky tactics. I mean, they water down to basically like pick on people and, just try to isolate them. Like number 12 of the Alinsky tactics is to go after human beings instead of organizations, and to like try to isolate them and cut them off from their emotional support systems. This is why they stick up for each other so much, because they understand rule number 12, which they inflict on us. So if you try to inflict it on them, they generally stick together. But, rule number 5 is basically pick on people. So I actually have another video. I shall link it to where I cover the Alinsky rules and explain them. The rules are not some magic incantation. They are simply some tactical principles that work in certain kinds of fights against certain kinds of opponents, particularly ones willing to unilaterally disarm in the face of an unprincipled enemy. Yeah, definitely. The right, the conservatives, they're all like, yes, left. What else can we give you? Oh, you want more? Please, take this. Don't, please, leave us alone here. Here, we'll give you this. We'll give you that. Please, stop, please. Come on. What are we thinking? It's like when you have a kid who's throwing a fit, you don't give them the candy that they want, because then they're just gonna keep throwing fits for more candy or whatever they want, how many people have seen it? You're in a grocery store and some kid is throwing a fit because their parents told them they couldn't have a candy bar. We all know this story. It's as cliche as can be. And the parent who doesn't give them the candy bar, that's what you need. Because you give them the candy bar that time, the next time they're going to keep throwing a fit, because they're going to think, I got the candy bar last time, I can do it again. I can temper tantrum my way into a candy bar. And then, then it's more and more and more. And when they're 16 and they're throwing a temper tantrum to get a car, and and when they're like in their 20s, they're throwing a temper tantrum to get their own apartment. Anyway, so back to the article. Particularly the ones okay, but once the secret is out, it's relatively easy to turn them around on an enemy that is so stupid it thinks it's going to gain widespread acceptance among normal Americans by dressing up as genitalia. That's why the 13 classical Alinsky principles are playing out right now in a way the left did not expect. Rule number 1. Power is not only what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. Yeah, actually, now we have a lot of power. I don't know if we have as much, but we're understanding the rules, and that itself gives us more power. No, we don't have direct power over liberal bastions like Hollywood, the media, and academia, but by threatening to use governmental levers of power to impact their tax breaks, copyright laws, and subsidies, we can pound them into submission. Trump is clearly willing to use all his powers to beat the living liberalism out of our enemies. This person is a really good writer. I don't know about you, but I love this person's little... I'll keep going. Wait, this is where Frida Kahns loosen their bow ties and started... We can't! Professor Wellington Wimpelheimer the Fourth would not approve. It's so mean. I never. Wake up, man up, woman up in my case, if you ever want to win, and maybe even sometime, kiss a girl or something, you need to get real. They hate us. Let's say that again. This is true. They hate us. And we either win or we spend the rest of our miserable lives as Boxer the horse, I don't know who that is, slaving away to fund the welfare state under the lash of the left until it decides it's time to pack us off to the glue factory. Rule number 2, never go outside the expertise of your people. And rule number 3, whenever possible, go outside the expertise of the enemy. Stupid GOP wonkons want to fight where the liberals are strong, like on entitlements. Oh, and another example of that is that, what do I want to say? These guys in California were having all these, like, free speech rallies, and they were doing it in places like Berkeley, San Francisco. I mean, Berkeley and San Francisco are basically the same place, but they do have separate mayors, and both mayors are, like, you know, far left, crazy pants, leftists. They call them liberals so often in the media, including this article. You know, I don't think that it's proper to call them liberal. How are we doing on time for the article? Okay, so this is getting long. I'm going to link this article in the description. I just want to go through the rules really quick. Rule number 4, make the enemy live up to its own book of rules. They always try that on us. That's just something I want to say about that. Like, constantly they'll be like, oh, well, you're not a good... Like, I've had people tell me, you're not a good Christian. Of course, my response that I'm not a Christian. Like, oops. But they say that all the time. Like, oh, you know, you guys are supposed to do this. And don't tell us what we're supposed to do. We don't answer to you. And that should be the response of everybody on the right. What? You're telling me what to do? I don't answer to you. That should be the response. Rule number 5, ridicule is man's most potent weapon. Like I said, rule number 5 is basically pick on people. Rule number 6, a good tactic is one your people enjoy. Rule number 7, a tactic that drags on too long becomes a drag. Rule number 8, keep the pressure on, never let up. They certainly try to do that. Rule number 9, the threat is usually more terrifying than the thing itself. Rule number 10, the major premise for tactics is the development of operations that will maintain a constant pressure upon the opposition. Are you understanding the theme here, the running theme here about, like, keeping pressure on the opposition? This is what they're doing to us. And I think it's important for people to know about this. And here we go. Rule 11, if you push a negative hard enough, it will push through and become a positive. Like, you know, they just keep telling people, you have to believe this, or you have to think that. And they've been successful in the past with that, especially because they've had Hollywood on their side and the media on their side. But people aren't listening to the media and people are turning off the TV. So, rule number 11 is losing some of its power for the left. Rule number 12, the price of a successful attack is a constructive alternative. And rule number 13, I think on some lists they have 12 rules. I forget which one is the extra one on this list, but rule number 13 is, I think I mentioned it as rule number 12, because on other lists it's rule number 12. Pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, polarize it. And they also talk about, go after people, don't go after organizations, because people hurt faster. So now we are woke, quote unquote, as they would put it, and to their little antics, to their little Alinsky tactics, and we see it's all a lie, it's all a scam, and we aren't playing their game anymore. So that's what's up. I will link this in the description so you can read the rest of it, what I skipped over, because I didn't want to make the video too awfully long. And again, that's Shoving the Alinsky's Rules for Radical. right back in the left ugly face. Shove it where the resistance don't shine. I should really see what else this guy has. Because he's a really good writer. Anyway. Alright. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. Find me on social media sites like YouTube, Minds, Gab, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and BitChute. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel, and I will see you all next time.